Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be fixing the mistake I made on the tailgate of the Discovery 3. Now, time passes pretty quick here in Land Rover world, and a few months back now, I actually started to redo the tailgate on the Discovery 3 to try and integrate a camping stove and just make it a bit more usable. Now, unfortunately, it didn't work. What I wanted to do was actually install this camping stove into the back of the Defender, and I managed to get the hole right, and I managed to get it to sit inside. Everything was looking good. I was going to get it mounted up. Now, unfortunately, the problem I came across was when this was mounted up, closing it, it would stop on this, and I just didn't even think at the time about that. So clearly my idea for a really good camping layout integrated into the tailgate was a complete fail. Now, the whole reason for going down the road of integrating the stove in the tailgate was because I had this big hole where the sub had been removed. So my stereo isn't linked to the amplifier in the vehicle anymore. It's just run through the head unit, so the sub wasn't working. It was knackered anyway, so I took it out, and there's a nice big space in there. In doing so, I also noticed that the wires that actuate my tailgate were broken on the switch, so you can actually just touch these two together and you get it to activate. It's a bit slow actually. It's looking like it's a bit, yeah. So what I wanted to do was actually get a new switch. So I ordered a new switch from Land Rover, and what I noticed was whoever had done the bodge before me had actually soldered the wires onto the bottom of the switch and actually cut the housing off. So with a new switch housing, you needed a connector, and that just, you can't get that from Land Rover. It's part of the loom. Now, all this really needs is a temporary on-off contact, and these switches from Amazon, I think I got 5 of them for $6.99, and you just press and release, and that will activate that. Now, I can't mount it in the top of the actual tailgate where the old one was, which is fine because I'm actually going to put it on the wood that I'm actually going to make for this. Now, I've got ply in here at the moment. It's a little bit too thick, if I'm honest, because it's interfering with the captive trim on the top, and it's not really closing very well. So I've gone and bought some MDF, and the reason I've done that, it's a bit thinner, but also I'm going to trim it once I'm done. So I don't know what material I'm going to trim it in yet. It'll be something hard wearing, but it gives me the additional room there to trim that afterwards. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to replace our broken switch with an aftermarket opening switch for the actuator for the lower tailgate, and we're going to be fitting a new trim for the actual tailgate itself. But I am going to utilise the space. Now, what I've got here, and I've used this before on a couple of other applications, this is actually a Kayak storage pod. So if you've got a Kayak and you might have noticed you have a hole in the front of the Kayak that's never cut out, and that is because you can actually retrofit one of these, and all it is, it's just a waterproof locking lid. So it's got a rubber seal, and then inside you've got a bag which is waterproof again that you can keep all your stuff in. So it keeps stuff dry in your Kayak. So if you roll your Kayak, if you've got dry stuff in there, as long as that's closed and sealed shut, everything will stay dry in there. And I think it's quite a nice little bit of kit, and I'm actually going to mount it in the bottom here of the tailgate. Now, I'm going to mount it fairly flush, but I am still going to have the problem of this panel catching, so I'm going to build a little ramp just on the edge, just to help it glide over the top. So I'm going to keep the bag in there just because you're going to lose stuff in the tailgate, and it's a good way of retaining things, but you can put all sorts of stuff in there. So it's just a nice little storage area, and I'm going to utilise that space, and it's going to look, hopefully, pretty cool. So the first thing I need to do is obviously cut the new piece of wood. So I'm going to be basically removing my old piece, use it as a template, and then we'll go ahead and do the fitment. Okay, so I've cut my basic shape off camera, and what I need to do is obviously make these cuts in here. So we need to make our hole now in the middle, and obviously the easiest way to do that is to use this as a rough guide. I know that that clears everything. So I think I can go, yeah, I can go just in here. So countersunk screws are going in this time. So what we're looking for here is where this lip hits. So if I put a little ramp on there, is it going to catch on the hinge as well? Yeah. So we'll mount it that way. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and do our switch. So here are our wires. I just need to make this a little bit bigger. Nice little hidden switch. Works perfectly. £2. There we go. So I've got a couple of these little retainers, and I could actually put 2 of those on there. Quick check. Yep. Will it work? Yes. Just enough. I couldn't help myself, but I had to paint the trim. So I've just again used Raptor. So I literally had a little bit of Raptor left over, just giving it a light dusting. It's just cleaned it up a treat. So I'm going to fit some new clips. Now, I did put some on before, but they were rubbish, and I found these ones. And I used these when I did the A-pillar trim as well, when I fizzed the snorkel, and these are a lot sturdier. So I'll put the link to these in the description because they're definitely worth having. So let's get those lined up first. Oh, it's just so much better. The other ones are rubbish. Right. Not doing these up super tight. I don't want to crack anything. There we go. Well, that's gone down even better as well. Well, folks, that is pretty much it. Really pleased with how it looks, really pleased with how it works. It's a good little use of space, I think, of that little cavity in there. I know you can't get much in there, but you'll soon find a use for that. Something that you want to keep out of the way, or you want to keep it, if it's dirty, you can keep it stuck in there. It's a good place to store things. It's all watertight. Our little ramps seem to be working quite well to shut everything, and the finish on this, I'm just not quite sure yet how we're going to actually finish this, whether we might even Raptor it, I don't know. And I'm really pleased our little button works a treat, and for £2 compared to, I think it was about £45 for the Land Rover one, I don't mind it being there. So, and I was saying before on the camera, I like the fact that I've put the button, which was completely by accident, but I've put the button at the back side of where the original button was, so, you know, muscle memory, if I'm reaching for the switch, I'll just have a go a little bit further, it's just there. So yeah, pleased with that. So just a little option there for you if you want to know how that's done, or you want to do something different with yours. There's a good way of looking at it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, do subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you on the next one.